Hello there, you're watching News Today with me, Kamini Nyamani Amano. In our first story, the chairman of the Health Committee of Parliament, Joseph Yeletre, has called for extra sources of funding for the National Health Insurance Scheme to ensure its sustainability. Meanwhile, Joseph Yeletre says his committee is engaging the National Health Insurance Authority and the Christian Health Association of Ghana to address concerns of the association.
As chairman of the committee, I attended a meeting with the National Health Insurance Authorities and CHAC authorities over a number of issues, including the outstanding payments. You have the release of the Common Fund, the GETFund, and all these other statutory funds having problems. And the truth is that the economy itself has challenges, as the president himself has indicated. So you cannot operate a national health insurance scheme which does not rely on the payments of premium, but rather on the levies, which are taxes that are levied on taxpayers. What government can do is perhaps look for extra sources of funding. And when we were passing the new act on the national health insurance, many of us were of the view that we should add a certain percentage to the tax, the VAT or whatever, and that would be devoted to supporting the national health insurance.
Member of Parliament for Ipiapim South, Osei Bunsu Amwa, has welcomed the decision by an Accra Fast-Track High Court ordering the Finance Ministry to immediately pay all outstanding arrears owed to the Ghana Education Trust Fund. Speaking on the AM show, Osei Bunsu Amwa noted statutory allocation for MPs has also been in arrears for months, affecting development in various constituencies.
It's come out that everybody needs to play his part. You come to me for me to pay my VAT. Anything that I purchase, once it's VATable, I need to pay it. So I'm playing my role. I'm fulfilling my obligation. The money gets to you, you have to send it to where it belongs. But if for almost 2 years, if you pick GETFund, for instance, the whole of last year, nothing trickled in. Up to this year, nothing has turned up. You've asked contractors to build schools, construct education facilities. You're not paying them. And then the issue is, so the money that you've collected from me legitimately, according to the law, how come you are not following the law? Does it mean on my own I can also decide not to pay VAT because you have fulfilled my part, you're not fulfilling your part? So it's logical that the court will say that please do the right thing, do what the law says. Otherwise, you, the government, you are creating that major picture that we can afford not to also pay, because when we pay, we don't see it. There's no excuse for that. There's no excuse at all. At least if you are in arrears and you make efforts to pay, people will think that, oh, in spite of the challenges, you are fulfilling your obligation as the law requires. But here's the situation: we are in the 17th month, if you add July, the whole of last year, the whole of this year, as far as I'm concerned, because the little that should even be in the name of the MP to be sent to education institutions in the constituency doesn't go.
You
Yes.
haven't received?
No, for 2 years now.
Hey.
And I'm saying that it's good that the court has come in, but the responsibility now is on government to respect this decision. Otherwise, then people say the law doesn't work in this country.
The Ministry of Transport has gone into an agreement with consultant firm PricewaterhouseCoopers to settle on a transactional advisor for the development of the Buankra Inland Port and Eastern Railway projects. The two projects, together with the establishment of a national airline, are being financed with a $30 million World Bank facility earmarked for the promotion of public-private partnership in the country. Redwan Karim Osman reports.
The Buankra Inland Port and the Eastern Railway Line, and the establishment of a national carrier. For the Buankra Inland Port and the Eastern Railway Line project, the Ministry, in collaboration with the Minister of Finance and with funding by the World Bank, has gone through a procurement process for the engagement of Messrs. PricewaterhouseCoopers as the transaction advisors for the project. The Buankra Inland Port and the Eastern Rail Line project is an important multimodal transport infrastructure development which, when completed, would improve the rail link between Tema and Kumasi and also enhance the operational efficiency of both the Tema and Takoradi ports. This would facilitate trade as it will bring import and export services closer to the doorsteps of shippers in the northern half of Ghana, as well as the landlocked countries including Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso.
But well, all is not well with rail workers. The Union of Rail Workers is calling for an improved service condition for its members. The union has warned that indeed from July 21, its members will embark on a sit-down strike. Alex Nanabuaten is chairman for the Railway Workers Union. He's joined me via telephone. Let's find out why they would give this ultimatum. Hello, Alex.
Yes, madam.
Alex, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
What exactly are the issues when it comes to conditions of service which you have called for improvement on in the rail sector?
Thank you very much. Our condition is nothing to write home about. As I'm speaking to you now, our managing director salary is less than 1,000 Ghana cedis. A laborer in railway is taking 163 Ghana cedis. And we think the conditions of this country now is nothing to write home about. And we are taking this salary. How do we cater for our children? How do we cater for our children? How do we purchase electricity? How do we purchase it? Water, how do we even purchase it? Our children are at home. They are not able to attend school. We can't pay school fees. You see, this is the reason why the workers are saying from 21st, they will withdraw their service. The Accra, in Sawam, Accra, Tamaseti service train, they will not run anymore. Because they think the government is not telling them the truth.
I want to believe that prior to your comment to the press, you may have engaged your employers on this matter. What has been the response over time?
Yes, this is nothing to write home about. You go and they talk their big talk, big English. They don't do anything about it. Big lies, let me put it that way. They have not been telling anything. So the workers are extremely furious. Stories, madam.
I see. One would argue that the rail sector itself is more or less dead and needed reviving, and hence perhaps that sector is not generating enough to be able to give enough.
It is true, but the state owns the railways. It's the state who owns the railways. As I'm speaking to you now, even input to work with car class we don't have. Input, common car class we don't have for the workers even to use it to reach along the track. These are some of the difficulties workers are going through. You see, the railway, in fact, it has collapsed. To be honest with you.
So then you'd understand why you probably can't have what you're asking, because no monies are being made from them.
We don't have problem. We have no collapse this thing. The government is supposed to provide the infrastructure, and the government is not doing it. So if you think he cannot do this, he should severe the workers. We are prepared to go. And we cannot be working in these conditions, madam.
If you're okay with severance, why won't you quit?
Some people have worked for 30 years to quit without giving them anything.
Right. Thank you.
That's what you are telling me.
Thank you very much, Alex, for your time. Alex Nanabuaten is chairman for the Railway Workers Union. They've given government up to July 21 to improve their conditions of service, or they would embark on a sit-down strike. Let's talk about another form of protest. And organizers of Occupy Flagstaff House are calling on Ghanaians to wear red every Friday in a fresh campaign dubbed the Red Campaign, aimed at pushing government to address concerns raised in their earlier petition. The campaign will simultaneously run on social media with the hashtag Red Friday.
What we are saying is this: we believe in a better Ghana. We believe that we deserve responsible governance as a people. We deserve it because it is our right, and we must demand it if we are not getting that from our government. So all we seek is responsible governance. Nothing more, nothing less. Red signifies mourning. Red could signify loss. Red could even signify danger. So what we are saying is that the hardship is real. We are suffering. Right now we are faced with what we refer to as an octopus of hardship. It's unbearable now. You know, so we want government to know that indeed we presented our petition. His Excellency the President instructed the Chief of Staff to write to us to acknowledge receipt of the petition, and then thereafter what we are saying is that while we are waiting for action to be taken, we're not going to sleep, but we are starting the red cancer. We are saying is that after you have put on this touch of red, take a selfie and then put it up on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Google+, and other social media platforms. And then add the hashtag Red Friday, hashtag Occupy Flagstaff House. We are sending a message to government that the hardship is there, the hardship is real, and we are waiting for action. What you have said is right. What we believe in is that big things have little beginnings. We have decided to be different, to be creative in our campaign by using social media. But what we are saying is that it's only the beginning. So we are expanding. We want to give a voice to the voiceless. If the people who have access to social media are facing such unbearable hardships, then how much more the people, our mothers and our fathers in the villages who do not have access to the media, whose voices cannot be heard. So we are expanding. We're going down to the grassroots. We will give a voice to the voiceless.
Though outlawed in Ghana, the use of motorcycles to shuttle commuters around remains quite popular here in Accra, especially. Apart from the occasional harassment from the police, Okada operators, as they are known, have largely gone about their business unhindered. But considering the speed and convenience it affords and the many patrons eager to hitch a ride, will the police ever win this tug of war?
The emergence of several motorbike dealerships along the Nsawam Road at Aveno attests to the growing popularity of the two-wheelers as a mode of transport. The dealers in the bikes, mainly from China, say business has for a while been good until things took a nosedive in recent months due to the general economic situation.
Oh, never be a cost of fine. Hey, we get me told me, the about 5-10. They say they are cotton for me tongue.
The motorbike transport business, by the way, borrowed the name from the now defunct Okada Air, which used to fly passengers from one airport to another in Nigeria. Its growing popularity due to the operator's ability to maneuver through Lagos's notoriously dense vehicular traffic. And with the situation in the central business district of Accra especially becoming increasingly problematic, commuters believe the authorities would have to scrap the law.
Okada business no. You say more. Ghana no society. So Okada no the police for no free. Almost free. And yes, police for no free. And you never done akrofo. So
Okada business in there and Kabebwa because they say no said the traffic system no Okada ne boa. But only thing is yana police for no. Yeah, I said tip Okada for no yana accident na there.
Okada ne there to me no we do say boa. I'm for got traffic this time pa.
The police are, however, more concerned about safety. They fear there would be a lot more carnage on the roads if Okada is legalized.
That the dangers associated with motorcycles, that motorcycle use, unsafe motorcycle is adding about 15% to our fatalities that we have on the road. Dangers that we think that should be all the educational enforcement force should be premised upon.
The operators who earn their keeps from the business, however, disagree. They state several reasons why they should be allowed to ply their trade in peace.
Basically, oh no, we don't have a job that we are doing this, this kind of job, for our survival. Because we don't have anything. If without this job, we don't have any job to do.
And Ashama first time uba Ashama untimin nanti. From motorway, at the back room, untimimba. A betima I say Okada for movie. First time no muya arm robbers. But now no Okada nanti. sisi abibia badown.
The police, meanwhile, disagree. They have turned a blind eye to the activities of the Okada operators and called on the public to help flush them out.
Police is still pursuing to reduce abuse of motorcycles with regard to constant arrest and prosecution at the motor courts. In addition to what we do, Accra Regional Police Command and Tema Regional Police Command embarked on suits, and if not thousands, hundreds of motorcycles were impounded. A lot of road criminals who were using motorcycles were put before the motor court. So it is not something that police have reneged on this responsibility, but that whilst we are using this enforcement, reactive enforcement, we also want the general public to support in our proactive efforts with regard to sensitization.
It's unclear, though, how many patrons of Okada will be willing to report the motorbikers who take them around town, especially when the traffic gets terrible. Because really, who wants to bite the hand that feeds it? For Joy News, Kwabna Chenchene Boating.
Let's talk about our health now. Security and medical officers at the country's entry points have stepped up their checks on travelers following the outbreak of the Ebola virus in the West African sub-region. Though Ghana has yet to record any case, health authorities say they have stepped up surveillance, especially at the borders, to ensure the country remains Ebola-free. But Nia Kofi Smotabe, who just returned from the Ghana-Togo border, reports due to infrastructure constraints, some travelers are finding ingenious ways of avoiding the health officers in the process, giving the border officials a very, very tough time.
The border town of Aplau in the Volta region is one of the busiest entry points into the country. Of course, because of the close affinity in language and the people on both sides of the border, movement here is very brisk, as well as business. Since the spread of the Ebola virus across boundaries in West Africa, concerns have been raised about cross-border movements. So we are here in Aplau to find out exactly how port authorities are dealing with the situation, and if at all they have recorded any incidents here in Aplau. Although there is general concern about the spread of the deadly Ebola virus disease, life at the Aplau border is what you'd see any day. Human and vehicular traffic appears normal, but the routine checks for travelers is not limited to what happens in the office of the Immigration Service alone.
Our function is such that you have to receive the person. So the people will come to you, and then they will give you their documents. You have to observe, check the document, and then do what is necessary before the person moves on. But like I was telling you, since the port health sensitized this, we are to look at the physical appearance of the person. If we observe that probably the person is not so well, we can alert them for them to do their screening properly.
Port health officials, on the other hand, are having a hard time fully executing their job of checking travelers. This is due to the non-availability of office space for them. For now, they are using this makeshift station for their duties. Assistant Chief Public Health Officer Raphael Mafo, who leads the health team, says the unit is doing its best under the circumstance.
We have the capacity to do the work. Our only challenge is sometimes office accommodation, and it cuts across. When you go any of the entry points, you see that most of the challenges that we have are office accommodation. Look, I ran here up to Akanu border, but look at my office. We are supposed to put gadgets down, computers and everything, get our PPEs ready, get our first aid ready. We don't have office accommodation, and it must be provided.
The Customs Division of the GRA has donated an office space to be used as a vaccination center for travelers. That aside, the port health officials have taken delivery of their first consignment of personal protection equipment, which will be used if a case is detected. Raphael Mafo explains, although 3 travelers turned up sick, it was in no way related to the Ebola outbreak.
So far, I would say absolutely no. Just last week, the only conditions we had were 3 stomach pain, 1 and 2 malaria cases. When we get it like this, we quickly refer them to the hospital where they are treated.
Some travelers and traders Joy News spoke to had little or no knowledge about the disease.
What I know, it was a very dangerous sickness. I know, but I learned that it's not yet in Ghana. But that's what I know about it. But last time when I was watching Joy News, they say you shouldn't touch bush animals with our bare hands, and that's what I know.
Ebola is a newly spread disease which currently killing people around Sierra Leone and I think Liberia. Yeah.
Back in the capital city, Deputy Minister Designate for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Delasoa, has debunked claims she cannot work with Substantive Minister Nanoye Letha at her vetting by the Appointments Committee Thursday. Delasoa said the minister has the required attitude as a leader and can fully assist the ministry achieve its goals if given the nod by Parliament.
At her vetting, Delasoa, also the MP for Kpando, noted the age-old problem of child prostitution can be addressed by first addressing the issue of rural-urban migration. She told the Appointments Committee of Parliament she will intensify the sensitization campaign on child prostitution if approved as Deputy Minister in the Gender, Children and Social Protection Ministry.
You are going to serve under a minister who is not a team player. Can I make my point? Please.
Honorable member.
No.
Honorable member, you know what the rules are. The honorable minister is not here to put up any defense. So you could talk about perception and things like that.
Perceived, thank you very much, Chairman. Perceived not to be a team player. How are you going to work with the Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection, because we all know the problems in that ministry?
I find Honorable Nanoye just somebody like that. I find her confident, I find her intelligent, I find her bold, I find her knowledgeable, and I don't think I'll have any problem working with her. I actually think it's a great privilege and an honor done me to work with her. There's a lot I have to learn from there. Thank you.
Meanwhile, Deputy Minister Designate for Health, Dr. Victor Asari Bampo, believes his experience gathered in various countries as a health worker can be brought to bear if approved by Parliament.
I think, fortunately, it's about systems, but it's also about personalities. And in the person of the new, if this committee agrees, the new Minister for Health, Dr. Kweku Agyeman-Mensah, I think he is the best person to provide that kind of leadership, and I will work with him to ensure that things work properly.
Jonathan Osari's report for Joy News.
Well, that'll take us on a quick break. When I come back, we'll do some business news. I'm glad you stayed on here on News Today. Let's talk about fuel. Member of Parliament for Kankwe Central, Yabuama, says Ghanaians should be bracing up for another round of fuel shortage next week. According to the MP, government's inability to pay strangling debts which the BDCs has left them exposed and incapable of buying fuel for distribution. The bulk oil distribution companies refused to release fuel into the country because it said government owed it some 1.5 billion Ghana cedis. Days after the situation was resolved, there have been threats of another fuel shortage to hit the country after banks withdrew funding support to the distributors. I'll head to the phone lines now and speak with Public Relations Officer at the National Petroleum Authority, Yaro Kasambata. Hello, Yaro. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Is this true?
That
what we hear is we should brace ourselves for another fuel shortage because some monies owed to the distributors have not been paid off.
No, we don't. You know, this should not be made to sound as a direct response to the MP, because I don't want this to be between a banter with the MP. It's not a direct response to him, but he has raised the issue within a wider context, and I want us to look at it within that wider context. What we are saying is that the consumer doesn't have to worry about your next supply, because we have, products in the country that can last you, a while. So you don't have to panic to buy more than you need. And the usual difficulty that comes with consumers queuing up at the stations with containers because they want to buy extra in store because they fear they'll run out and all that. So we're just assuring the consumer that here's the case. We have fuel. You don't have to worry about where your next supply is coming from, and just go about your normal consumption. The next time you need fuel, it will be available, because all the depots across the country have very good stock positions. We are operating, we're discharging products, putting them onto the market. And so that should be enough to assure the consumer that there will be product next time you need it.
I see. So how long is the well?
No, I mean, you have, fuel to use. I mean, almost every week, vessels come into the country to discharge fuel. And that is the practice for all this while, because you know that our refinery capacity is inadequate in terms of the consumption we have at the moment. So the normal practice of fuel coming to the country will continue. We have the vessels, scheduled to arrive with products. At the moment, landed products in the country, what we have is able to take us for a while. I mean, we have, products coming in, on schedule, and they will be discharged, to replenish what has been used. And so the consumer is being given the assurance that everything is in control, and we don't have to worry about the, issue of shortage here and shortage there.
I'm sure that is great news for a lot of consumers and a lot of Ghanaians. But the other bit of the matter is the fact that we haven't settled completely with the BDCs.
Yes, it's a fact, and the Deputy Finance Minister yesterday on your mother station had assured that the Ministry of Finance is in touch with the BDCs, and discussions are ongoing towards a final resolution of this matter. And so that was equally another assurance. And in this business, if you get involved with the daily operations very often, you realize that much of what we do is a lot about confidence, giving confidence to the industry, seeing that there is an attempt and commitment to make payments of debts owed, and, just so that that aspect of the business does not suffer. So as far as we are concerned, the Ministry of Finance assurance that says that, talks are ongoing, arrangements are in place to have this matter resolved. We are confident. Now we are dealing with the operations of distributing the fuel that we have, and from that angle also, we are equally sounding that assurance to the consumer that everything will be okay. The consumer doesn't have to worry. We are in a comfortable position.
I see. Thank you very much, Yaro Kasambata is PRO for the National Petroleum Authority. And we're putting efforts again to raise the CEO of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distribution Company, Senyor Hosi, over the telephone. When we get through to him, we'll bring that conversation. Meanwhile, Nigeria's largest cement producer, Dangote, has announced a $35 million expansion program in Ghana as part of initiatives to meet local demand. The company will, over the next 3 months, expand its timber factory, which will see it producing 1.5 million tons of cement annually. As part of the expansion plans, Dangote has also acquired a 41-acre land at Takoradi in the western region to set up a plant which would further produce 3 million tons of cement annually. The grinding and bagging plant is expected to take 4 years to complete. Currently, the total production of cement in Ghana stands at 7 million metric tons per annum. Dangote Cement is about 11% of this market share. I'll turn attention now to the Central Bank of Ghana. The total stock of public debt increased to 58.4 billion Ghana cedis at the end of March 2014 from 52.1 billion at the end of December 2013. The debt stock has been on the rise in recent times, and for the governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Henry Kofi Wampa, the fiscal consolidation that comes with more tax payments and removal of some subsidies paid by government is the surest way to reduce the increase in debt.
Revenue and grants for the review period came to 9 billion Ghana cedis, below the 9.5 billion cedis target according to the Bank of Ghana. Total tax revenue also amounted to 7.1 billion Ghana cedis, lower than the estimated 7.3 billion Ghana cedis. Government expenditures stood at 13.1 billion Ghana cedis, also lower than the estimated 13.6 billion Ghana cedis for the period. These fiscal developments resulted in a deficit of 4.12 billion Ghana cedis, almost at par with the estimated 4.1 billion Ghana cedis for the period. Both domestic and external public debt at the end of March was a significant 55.4% of GDP.
The fiscal consolidation is important. That's the only way you can reduce the debt, if the fiscal deficit goes down. But unfortunately, when we talk about measures that will bring about that fiscal consolidation, we also don't want to implement them. The VAT on financial services, we complain, is now out. Subsidies. Subsidies is a major source of government slippage, okay, and government deficit. We don't want that to be implemented. Wages, we want 20% increase in salaries and so on. These are all issues that would aggravate the situation.
For the central bank, a rise in public debt could only be cut by deficit reduction.
Even when you want the revenues, people don't want to pay taxes, they circumvent the laws and so on. And I think that we as a nation, we need to look at all those issues. How do we bring down the deficit? Because it is only the reduction in the deficit that can do that. Well, yes, you can have a draconian thing and say that we are rejecting this, but that will only create arrears. You will not do away with the deficit. You have the deficit, cash basis you will be performing, but commitment basis, the deficit will still be growing. And one day, people will demonstrate and want their monies.
Meanwhile, the bank attributed the underperformance of government revenues during the first 5 months of the year partly to low import volumes, declines in international gold prices, and
So let's talk some sports now on News Today with me, Benedict Owusu. And in our very first story, government of Ghana has directed its embassy in Brazil to liaise with authorities there to investigate some persons claiming to be Ghanaians seeking asylum in that country. Government in a release on Friday, that's today, this afternoon, and signed by Felix Ofosu-Kwakye, who is Deputy Information and Media Relations Minister, has denied the claim by the supposed asylum seekers. Some 200 Ghanaians who went to Brazil to watch the Black Stars play in the World Cup have requested for asylum from authorities there, saying they are fleeing religious conflict. They had entered the country on tourist visas to watch the World Cup, which ends this weekend. The fans who claim they are Muslims fleeing inter-religious conflict in Ghana have filed their applications in the southern city of Caxias do Sul, in one of Brazil's most prosperous areas. Well, so we'll do some more stories, and this time we'll talk about the MTN Africa. Remember, it ended last season where Kumasi and Kotoko were crowned champions after beating Inter Allies by a goal to 0 at the Accra Sports Stadium. And heroes of the 2013 MTN FA Cup competition will be awarded on 9th of August during the award ceremony. The event, to be held at the banquet hall of the State House in Accra, will award deserving players and officials of 112 participating clubs that took part in the competition. The nominations for the various categories will be released by the FA Cup committee in due course. Asante Kotoko won the FA Cup after beating Inter Allies to record a record for their 8th cup success. The government has invited some football administrators and currently some eminent football administrators to review the country's football and advise on a national strategy for the sport in the country in the wake of the Black Stars disastrous showing at the World Cup. The initiative is a collaboration between the Youth and Sports Ministry and the Ghana Football Association. So the eminent football administrators will reflect on developments in the area of competitive football and fashion out a national response strategy. Now, this could be seen as a major step in reviewing the Black Stars' poor showing at the 2014 World Cup tournament in Brazil, which led to a first-round exit. So the conduct of the members of the team and the managers attracted negative media attention globally, and President John Dramani Mahama subsequently constituted a 3-member committee to review Ghana's participation in the shameful exit from the tournament. So as we speak now, the 2-day retreat scheduled to start today is currently on, and will continue for tomorrow at the Premier Best Western Hotel in the airport residential area here in Accra. So we'll bring you more in our subsequent bulletins.
Time for some arts and entertainment. Actress and television personality Jocelyn Dumas says she is attached and does not intend to accept any more marriage proposals from her numerous suitors. Noted for her curvy and shapely figure, Jocelyn is the dream woman of most men, with Foresight TV judging her the hottest Ghanaian celebrity in 2012. The 33-year-old and mother of one seems to have had enough of reports that she's single and searching for a man to marry. According to the actress, due to the reports, she has been bombarded with tons of marriage proposals. Jocelyn Dumas took to social media networking site Facebook Friday dawn to declare that she is simply not available. Here's what she said: "Hi folks, I am not single and searching, so please kindly ignore those publications on social media." Those are, well, are not my words, but those are not exactly her words either on the reports you've seen. The bubbly actress added that for those that have been sending me tons and tons of marriage proposals, sorry guys, I'm simply not available. Thanks for your understanding. God bless you. That's what she said. And so if you hear now, she's so not available. And so if you're like Jocelyn and perhaps you're looking into marriage, here's one place to be. The 2014 edition of the GETFund Beauty and Bridal Fair has opened in Accra. The 4-day event at the Accra International Conference Center has over 50 exhibitors showcasing everything needed for a wedding from planning to execution.
The GETFund Beauty and Bridal Fair has over the years grown to become the most trusted one-stop shop for many prospective couples. As has been the norm over the years, an official couple exchange vows on behalf of the patrons, exhibitors and organizers.
With all of your heart and in all honesty, to make the GETFund Beauty and Bridal Fair your one-stop shop. With respect to your wedding, your marriage, and the building of your home, you pledge to uphold it in high esteem and celebrate it thereon. If you do, the four of you answer in unison, yes, we do. Everybody join in on this one.
The bridal fair, which runs from July 10 to 12, is not meant for just the singles. Married couples also get to benefit from the popular marriage seminar, which has seasoned speakers lined up for this year's edition. The fair may just be opening, but we asked some exhibitors about their expectations.
Bridal fair has always been an exciting thing for us. We've been coming for the last few years, and just as we always enjoy it, we are just expecting exactly the same thing, to have fun with our customers, to have fun with people who will come. Some people will even come to us as their first experience.
First and foremost, I expect the attendance to be great, and the bottom line is also land a lot of orders from the show. Yeah.
We want to sell Africa. We wish and we hope that everybody that comes here has something like that in mind so we can sell our continent.
So, if you're hoping to get married sometime before the end of the year, this is certainly an opportunity you will not want to miss.
Absolutely, and you can also be at the marriage conference tomorrow at the Accra International Conference Center, also as part of the Joy Bridal Fair. You can find more news on myjoyonline.com. It's a Friday. I'm going to have me a good weekend. You too. I'll see you on Monday. Enjoy the rest of our broadcast. My name is Kimini Nyamani Amala.